Do you know in your head that content planning is good for your business, especially as you go into the end of the year, but maybe feel like it's such a hard thing to actually do? Whilst it may feel like just another thing on your to do list, in this episode, you'll learn how a structured approach saves time and stress, ultimately leading to more intentional and impactful content. I'll introduce you to the concept of minimum viable content and how to apply it to your busy biz life without compromising the quality of your content. We'll explore why content planning might feel difficult for you right now, and more importantly, how knowing one simple thing can change the way you feel about planning your content. By focusing on your strengths and utilizing the 4 simple steps to content planning, you'll become a powerful and consistent content creator in no time. And if planning is feeling like a huge chore for you right now, know that you can join me in my upcoming 90-day content planning workshop, where I'll show you how easy it is to plan out your content so that you can achieve your goals and take a real break over the silly season. Find out more at thecontenteffect.com.au/plan. And if you listen to the end of the episode, you'll find out about the 2 extra gifts I have for you. Welcome to the Powerful Content Podcast, your go-to source for content creation, strategy, and business inspiration. I'm your host, Mel Daniels, content strategist, coach, and speaker, empowering women across the globe to grow their business with powerful content that connects, nurtures, and converts. So, if you're ready to create standout content that gets you noticed and remembered, or build an aligned audience who love you and are ready to buy from you, you're in the right place. I believe that content has the power to connect us all. It's up to you how you use it. Listen in for genuine and insightful chats with guests, as well as practical tools and strategies from me. It's so lovely to have you here. Let's dive into the show. I acknowledge the Wongal people of the Eora Nation as the traditional custodians of the country that I am recording from today. I recognise their continuing connection to the land and waters. I pay my respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all First Nation people listening today. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to episode 142 of the Powerful Content Podcast. Thanks so much for being here, where I know that there are so many other options out there to choose from. But this week, I'm continuing on my theme of content planning to uncover why it may feel hard for you, but mostly to give you some ideas on how to make it easier. Now, as much as I hate to say it, creating content on the fly just won't cut it. Not if you want it to be intentional about what you need it to do for you and your business. Now, that's why planning is such a huge part of making sure that you're taking your ideal client on that journey with you, from not knowing anything about you all the way through to becoming a raving paying fan. It also allows you to be purposeful and powerful whilst minimizing the amount of time you spend on actually creating that content. Now, I'm a meal planner. I need to be, as my daughter and I have just become vegetarians, but my husband and son are not. Now, I don't know about you, but I do not have the time or energy, for that matter, to spend making 2 meals every single night. And at the moment, I can't quickly and easily fall back on the family favorite dinners and duck to the shops every day or so to buy the few ingredients that I need. I just don't have the time. So we're still finding our feet with what works and what doesn't. But what I do know is that planning meals for an entire week has made a world of difference to my stress levels and my time management. It saves me at least 45 minutes not having to jump in the car, drive to the shops, come back, unpack them, sometimes 4 or even 5 times a week. Now, the result of planning is that our meals are thought out and aim to meet the iron and protein requirement that vegetarians often find difficult to meet, as well as satisfy the boys who still like to eat meat. Now, there are days when I need to change things up, or I've forgotten a vital ingredient, or we have an unscheduled activity that we need to go to, but I know that I have the flexibility to work with these changes despite having a meal plan for the week. I can simply switch meals around, prepare half the meal earlier in the day. It doesn't mean that I'm locked into the plan because quite frankly, that would just end up causing me more stress. Exactly the opposite to why I plan in the first place. Now, I think that you can apply the same concept to your content as well. When you have a plan of what's coming up, what needs to be done, and when you'll have time to do it, it makes the process so much less stressful. You can still be flexible and still be creative when new opportunities come up, but knowing that you have a solid roadmap for the next month, quarter, or year helps you stay focused and on tracks. So, to tie a ribbon around the benefits of planning, I think that you can see that it really does save you time in the long run. Despite seeming like you have a huge investment of time up front, it can really reduce the stress and overwhelm of creating content. But for me, it goes a little deeper than that. Content planning is how you become a powerful content creator. It allows you to be more intentional and more strategic. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to help you be more consistent, become more visible, and increase your sales. You definitely won't be wasting time creating things because you think you should, but because you want to. And adding the extra layer of intentionality here with your planning means that not only is content creation easier, it's getting you exactly what you want from your business. Now, I know that it is so easy to fall into the trap of doing all the things. The Instagram expert says you should be creating 2 reels a week for follower growth. The Pinterest expert is saying that you need to create 5 pins a day and post them at certain times. But it's okay because you can use AI, but really, who has the time to work out how to use it? And the LinkedIn expert is saying it's the only platform for quality leads and you need to connect with 10 new people each week and message another 10 and comment on 10 posts every day. It's no wonder that content creation feels like such a huge burden. Who has the time to be doing all of these micro actions? Certainly not me. Now, I'm going through a pretty busy season of my life at the moment. And despite the fact that I love to plan and feel organized, some things at the moment are just not doable. Don't tell anyone, but I have almost passed on releasing this episode as time has totally slipped away from me this week. But as the busy season gets even busier heading towards the end of the year, I'm leaning into my concept of minimum viable content. Now, the idea here is to ask yourself, what is the minimum amount of content that I can publish in order to maintain a reasonable, and insert your own definition of reasonable here, a reasonable level of visibility? It's really inspired by the idea of the marketing concept, minimum viable product, where instead of aiming for perfection, you focus on delivering something valuable and impactful with the least amount of effort and resources. It can, in fact, help you become more intentional and focused. So it's something worth considering as you plan your content. So for me, I usually turn up in Facebook groups daily. I've dropped this all together at the moment. So it's actually a bonus if I have time and end up contributing in groups. I've also gone a little bit quiet inside my own Facebook group, The Content Project, and interacting less on LinkedIn. So whilst this connection piece in my client journey has decreased, and just remember that the client journey is made up of those 5 phases of connect, subscribe, nurture, convert, and onboard. I'm still focused on the subscribe piece, even though the connection piece has dropped. I promote my content creator archetype quiz on the podcast and on my socials, and I will be doing it again in this episode. I'm covering off nurture with my podcast and consistent emails, and convert with my upcoming 90-day content planning workshop. So I'm really focused on my current audience and serving them rather than specifically looking for new audiences right now. It feels a lot easier for me as I'm not constantly on social media, but yet it's still strategic, right? So as you go into a planning process, which I hope you will, to really help see you through this busy, silly season part of the year, really think about ditching those shoulds and focus on you instead. Now, I know that for many of you, planning still feels like such a huge chore and such a big job, and you may have several blocks stopping you from even starting on the road to creating a content plan. If this is you, please go back to the previous episode 141 to find out more about how you can overcome them But just know that planning is there to help guide you to be more intentional, authentic, and strategic by laying the content breadcrumbs for your ideal client to follow. So now we understand the benefits. Now we understand the concept of minimum viable content and how we can actually apply that to our planning process. What is the absolute solution here? What is it that's going to make planning so much easier for us? And you know what? It's something so super simple. It's knowing you. It's knowing how to use your strengths to your advantage. Now, I understand that not everyone is like me. Not everyone loves planning to the nth degree or to have every launch task mapped out or plan their content for an entire year. I get that. I also understand that not everyone has the skills to be able to do it either. That is why you will never, ever, ever, ever hear me say, this is the way you should do content planning, or this is the tool that you should be using to plan your content, because that's just setting you up for failure from the start. Instead, I want you to approach content planning in a way that supports how your brain works and the time, energy, and resources that you have available. So thinking about the you, not just your ideal client. And the best way to do this is by knowing your content creator archetype. You can head on down to the show notes for the link on where to take the quick quiz to find out what yours. So instead of telling you how you should content plan, I'm going to let you know how to approach it from a really high level, achievable for any content creator archetype. And then depending on your strengths, you can go deeper into this planning process or simply stay high level. And it involves just 4 simple steps. The first one is know your objective. Start by choosing a single focus, just one, whether it's boosting sales, building brand awareness, or growing an email list. When content has a specific outcome that you're aiming for, it has far more impact and planning becomes easier because you know exactly what you're working towards. So an example of this is if you want to build your list over the coming holiday season, you could focus on participating in end-of-year bundles. You could create social media posts to encourage lead magnet signups and have a call to action in your core content to download your lead magnet. Now, the second step is to identify your key focus for promotion. No matter what your objective is, you still need a service or a package of some description to promote. It's essential to know what's at the heart of each 90-day cycle. Maybe it's an existing offer or a seasonal service that you can provide, but there always needs to be that convert part of your client journey that you're putting in front of your audience. And that's something that you're selling. So for example, if you have a service or a workshop that helps people start the year off on the right foot, your content would reflect the benefits of clearing the slate, new beginnings, and possibly cover off potential objections. Now, the third step is to create a monthly theme. Now, a lot of people resist this step, but I love this step because it not only provides your ideal client with a little bit of clarity, but also you as well. The monthly themes provide that real structure that keeps your content fresh, but aligned to both the objections that come up from your audience as well as your key promotional focus. It's easier to create content when there is a central theme guiding the ideas. So besides making it easier for you, it actually helps your audience to focus on one particular aspect of what you do without kind of jumping all over the place. So an example here is if your objective is to increase your email list and you have a free goal setting workbook, then your theme for the month could be intentions or new year or simply goal setting, where each piece of your content really addresses the common challenges and benefits of goal setting. And then the fourth and final step is actually planning those core content titles or headlines. So knowing how much and what specific content to create each month really reduces your decision fatigue and helps streamline your creation process. I remember how much time I used to waste writing blogs at the beginning of my business journey. I would set aside the time in my calendar to write it, but it was the deciding part. The deciding on what to actually write about, that was the most time consuming. By knowing what you'll create ahead of time, you'll actually have a strategic roadmap ready to use. So an example here is if you create a weekly video as your core piece of content, then you'd plan 4 video titles around that month's theme. So going on from the previous example about goal setting, you could create videos like 5 reasons goal setting doesn't work and what you should do instead. Or is goal setting a waste of time? How goals could change your life. My 3 simple steps to successful goal setting. I think that you get the idea, right? But really, at the end of the day, planning is as much about being focused, decreasing the noise and clutter and the doing as it is releasing the guilt and expectations you place on yourself. When you realize that you don't have to do all the things and can focus on what's achievable for you right now in your current season of life, then your content will flow. Just know that whatever you choose to do now and until the end of the year, even into January, is enough. Focus on your minimum viable content to get you through the silly season, and you can only go onwards and upwards from there. And if you'd like to get clear on what content you need to create over the next quarter, come and join me in my 90-day content planning workshop coming up next week. Together, we'll map out your silly season content so you can actually switch off for a change and take a break. I'll show you how to take all of that content chaos swimming around in your head and turn it into an easy plan that works for you and how you like to work. By the end, you'll know exactly what content you need to create so that your business can keep ticking along whilst you spend more time with your loved ones this year. So, in the workshop, you're going to walk away with a clear content plan for the next 90 days and beyond, a simple way to plan content that you can use over and over again, and peace of mind. You know exactly what you need to focus on and how to get there. Now, if you decide to join me, let me know that you heard about this workshop in this podcast episode, and I'll throw in 2 extra bonuses to help amplify your planning session. There'll be access to my year's worth of content ideas mini course that will help you be more prepared before you plan, and then a month's free access to my membership, The Content Effect, where you'll gain all the support you need over the next 30 days to make it all happen. Head to thecontenteffect.com.au/plan to book your place. I hope to see you there. Talk soon. Thanks so much for listening. That's it for another week. To get more powerful content in your life, make sure you're following along on socials. My handle is @meldbusiness. And just in case you're wondering, the groovy music for this podcast was created by Just Here on SoundCloud. I'd also be super grateful if you took a moment to rate and review this podcast so more amazing women like you can experience the power of content. And if you're like, hell Mel, stop talking, I'm ready to work with you now, here's how we can work some powerful content magic together. Firstly, come and join The Content Effect, my membership inspiring women with service-based businesses to ditch the content chaos and start creating stand-out content that gets you noticed and makes sales. You can join us by using the link in the show notes or just Google The Content Effect. The second way we can work together is via my one-on-one packages. We can create a sustainable content strategy or start to build out your client journey. It's up to you. Hop on over to meldbusinessservices.com.au/services to find out more. Until next time, have a beautiful week and embrace the power of your content.